Renee, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers as we transition into the offseason. Football is over. Let's look towards the future, towards next season, and what kind of strategies the Green Bay Packers and moving specifically into the draft. The draft not too far around the corner. I think it's something we can all start looking towards as we move into the offseason. But the Green Bay Packers seem to have a very interesting draft strategy brewing up. And I think it's something that they may be ahead of the curve on from a lot of other teams, giving them that edge. As we all saw, they had a really great draft last season as well. Let's get into the article and we can talk about it on the other side. This, of course, is from over on The Ringer. It says this season, the NFL will welcome fewer young players than ever. Just 5 years ago, 136 underclassmen declared for the draft. This year, there are 58. There are two main reasons for this: name, image, and likeness rules that allow players to sign endorsement deals and get paid while in college, and the transfer portal, which makes it easier for players to change teams. A few years ago, players who expected to go in the fourth round may have declared for the draft because they needed money or didn't have a way to improve their draft stock. Now those players can be paid to stay in school and or transfer to a better opportunity to showcase their skills. So this makes sense. Those later rounds, they're not going to have those hidden gems anymore because these guys are staying in school and getting paid or going to the transfer portal. And I think this is shown in Green Bay's draft strategy. They have shown that they are catching on to this. And let's get into this next article or next clip. It shows the Green Bay Packers draft picks for 2024. You see, they have 5 picks in the first 100 draft picks. I think this is very interesting. I'm curious what your thoughts are. You can maybe explain this a little bit better to us, Nick. But Packers fans, we're talking about the future. We're talking about the 2024 draft. Before we go there, let's go in the past and look at the 2023 draft. Let us know, who is your favorite pickup for the Green Bay Packers from that 2023 draft. Let us know in the comment section below. But Nick, what does all of this draft talk and strategy, NIL, what does all of this mean for the Green Bay Packers?
Well, it means the Packers front offense, led by Gutekunst, of course, they're ahead of the curve. And right, let's back up a few years to when the Green Bay Packers traded up to draft Jordan Love. A lot of people at the time, myself included, were very critical of the move. Of course, they still had Aaron Rodgers. Were coming off a 13-3 season, I believe. And it was like, look, this is our championship window. But the Packers, thinking for the future, thinking ahead of the curve, they had their Aaron Rodgers replacement identified. They drafted him. And of course, fast forward to now, and they look like absolute geniuses because Jordan Love, of course, looks like the next great Packers quarterback. He is their franchise guy going forward, already has a playoff win and his first full season as a starter. So it's not unusual that the Packers outsmart people and are ahead of the curve, but this is just next level thinking that is just really awesome stuff by the Packers front office. Because we talk about it a lot from the college perspective about, yeah, a lot of the mid-level, lower-level talent guys, what they do is they don't go to the NFL draft because they can make some money in college or they can transfer and try and work their draft stock up a little bit. So what does that do on the NFL side? It dilutes the living heck out of rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. The era of a guy who, a junior who was leaving college a year early, who, had some issues, needed to develop and fell to the 5th, 6th round, and a team was able to pick him up and develop him and help him become a hidden gem kind of guy, a draft steal. That era is ending because of what's changing on the college football landscape side. And that's what the Ringer column really accurately describes. So I think it's a valuable point. But this isn't brand new for 2024. This has been going on for a few seasons now, and the Packers very intelligently are reacting to it. When it comes to their major trades, they are focusing on rounds 3, 2, and 1. The rest of the NFL, for the most part, they're still focusing on rounds 5, 6, and 7. 4, 5, 6, and 7, excuse me, with the same amount of weight as rounds 2 and 3, which is wrong, which is stupid. It's kind of like a little old school Moneyball strategy. You want to focus where the value is. And the Green Bay Packers going into the 2024 draft have the second most picks in the first 3 rounds. Only the Arizona Cardinals have more, and that's because the Arizona Cardinals last offseason, they have more picks than everybody. They basically essentially tanked when it came to the NFL draft to get as many picks in all 7 rounds as humanly possible going into 2024. So if you look at the teams that weren't tanking, the Green Bay Packers are far and above ahead of the curve in terms of focusing on the first 3 rounds of the draft. And everyone focuses on round 1, of course, but round 2 and 3, with the changes to the college football landscape, that's where the real value is. You want as many picks as possible in those rounds, and the Green Bay Packers have been doing a phenomenal job accumulating picks in that area, and it gives them, or puts them, excuse me, in a great position to pick up elite talent and let the rest of the competition focus on rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 and not react to the college football landscape correctly. So again, This is what smart teams do. This is what the Green Bay Packers are proving themselves to be, in my opinion, one of the smartest teams in football. They see what's going on in the college football landscape. They're reacting to it to put themselves in a great position to be successful and accumulate the best talent and be ahead of the curve of their competition.
Yeah, Nick, and I think that's a really great point. I think, there's some truth to that because we can go ahead and look at the Packers 2023 draft class. We look in the first 2 days, rounds 1 through 3, the Packers absolutely killed it. You got Luca Van Ness in the first round. He looks like a budding star. Luke Musgrave, tight end. He's their starting tight end, played very, very well. Jaden Reed doing very, very well as well, slot receiver. And then finally, they got their second tight end for their 2 tight end sets in Tucker Kraft as well. 4 for 4 in the first 3 rounds. Absolutely killed it. You go through the next, I'd say 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 rounds. They had 9 picks. And I'd say out of those 9 picks, they probably only hit on 2 of those. I'd say maybe 3. They drafted the kicker in there, but, he did okay. He missed 5 extra points. So is that really great? So let's say 2.5 out of 9 for the Green Bay Packers in those rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7. There's a clear disparity. They killed it in the first 3 rounds. 4 for 4 versus 2.5 out of 9 in the latter part of the draft. I think this just shows the Green Bay Packers know there's a lot of value in those first 3 rounds. So now they're trying to get as many possible picks in those first 3 rounds as they can. And it just showed they got 5 guys in the first 3 rounds now. Let's hope next year they go 5 for 5 in the first 3 rounds, and then they kill it again. Getting 5 starters, 5 serviceable players on your team in the first 3 rounds, I think that'll be absolutely phenomenal. So I think the Packers, they started this at least last year. It shows proof of concept. They really did a great job with this last year. Getting 1 extra pick this coming 2024 draft, I think Green Bay has set themselves up for success in the ever-changing college football landscape.
And just one final point to end on, because I know some people may be like, well, duh, guys drafted in the 2nd round are better than guys drafted in the 7th round. And I get it. But the point is that there is now an asymmetric gap in value between the way 2nd round picks used to be perceived and the way, say, 4th round picks used to be perceived. If you go back 6 years ago, a 2nd round pick may have a 50% chance of being a starter. And that still is kind of true, right? Taking that model, 2nd round pick, every 2nd round pick has a 50% chance. In the old days, a 5th round pick may have a 20% chance. Nowadays, a 5th round pick has, say, only a 5% chance. So again, it's not just that not just that 2nd round picks are better than 5th round picks, which generally has always been true. It's that the 5th round picks and 6th round picks and 4th round picks and 7th round picks have gotten worse in relationship to 2nd and 3rd round picks. They've stayed the same. Rounds 4 through 7 have dropped. So you want to focus on where the value is and avoid where the value isn't. That's what the Packers are doing, and I think will pay big dividends for them in the future.